Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host Owen James, the channel that brings you your team every single day, guys. We are here. It is final day. It is time for Rangers to defend that League Cup that we won last year against Aberdeen in the final with the James Tavernier goal to win that game for us. And guys, it's it's even more important, I think, this year that we win that trophy. It's not just about winning the trophy for me today. It's not just about taking that League Cup. It's not just about re-extending our lead over Celtic in terms of trophies won. It's also about laying down a marker. It's also about sending out a signal, a clear signal to Celtic that we are very much back in contention, very much on their heels, and that they're not going to have it all their own way for the foreseeable. I think, if you talk to the average Celtic fan, if you can get a coherent sentence out of them that doesn't involve the word seven, then they'll tell you that they pretty much think that they're going to walk the next 2 to 3 years and win trophy after trophy and extend their lead over us and be 9 trophies at least clear of us by the end of the third season. But that's what they're saying. That's what they believe. They honestly believe that it's just a walk in the park. I think they honestly believe that today's game is just a formality, that they just need to turn up and they will win the trophy. I think that is genuinely how they feel. But look, I think, if you'd asked most Rangers fans, some 2, 3 weeks ago, I think the vast majority of us would have said, I think if you'd asked the vast majority of us, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we would have all said the same thing. I think we were all expecting an absolute doing from Celtic. We were all expecting, on the level of performances given by Rangers, that we would get absolutely our asses handed to us on a plate today. That may still happen, we don't know. But I think everyone goes into this game, given the last few performances and given the change of formation to some degree and the change of tactics and also the change of players, very much more, I don't know what's the word, a more positive attitude, a more positive outlook to today's game. Like it's actually a contest, a bit of a 50-50 between us and them. Look, I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I sit here and pretend to you this is going to be an easy game today, because it isn't going to be an easy game today. It's going to be a hell of a game today, but at least it's going to be two teams that actually want to have a game of football rather than what we usually face in Scotland, which is one team, us, that wants to play football, and another team, usually the likes of St Johnstone or Dundee, who just want to basically spoil the game, kick, foul, blow, block, just turn it into a wrestling match, rugby match, never mind a football match. Not interested in the slightest. Let's have a little look, shall we? I mean, look, Celtic Rangers, let's not look at the overall record. The overall record is not great, I'll be honest with you. The overall record, they do have nearly 50% of victories in fixtures coming up. I think it's 126 games now between us in recent times, and they've won like 61 of them. I have 126, so just under 50% success rate. So, that's largely down to the fact that since 2012, there has not been a great amount of success for us against them, and this is something that does need to start to change. This is the biggest thing that needs to start to change for me, is that change in our results against them and a real step forward by us, when it comes to actually playing them. Because at the end of the day, if we are constantly losing to them and constantly falling behind them in terms of old firm victories, we're not going to win anything, and we're always going to be fighting a constant catch up and a constant losing battle to win titles. And as we all know, Rangers managers who can't beat Celtic are about as much use as a chocolate fireguard, e.g. absolutely no use whatsoever. In terms of League Cup fixtures, it's 50-50. It is genuinely 50-50. There's been 16 League Cup meetings between Rangers and Celtic in recent times, and it is 8 wins apiece. They've scored 23 goals, we've scored 19 goals, so they've slightly outscored us. Look, the record is not brilliant in recent times against them, as we know. 22-23, they beat us 2-1 in the final. When Michael Beale got his tactics wrong. We lost 1-0 to them in 2019-2020 in the final. You've then got to go back to 2016-2017 semi-final, a 1-0 defeat, 2014-2015, another defeat. Our last victory against them in a League Cup final was in 2010-2011, so nearly 14 years ago now, a 2-1 extra time victory. Before that, they won 2-0. They won 2-0 again. There was a 2-1 victory for us in the quarterfinals, a 2-1 for us in the final in 2002-2003. Getting back across the finals just for a minute, concentrating on those, it was a 2-1 to us in extra time, a 2-1 to us in 86-87. I think I actually remember that game when I first started supporting the club, 83-84, a 3-2 to us. after extra time. So, look, a very mixed record in recent times. You've got to go back nearly 13, 14 years for our last victory over them in the League Cup. But obviously, all that's slightly skewed by obviously 2012 and what went on in there. Look, it's time to change. It's time for a change. We do need to start to change this. And to me, today, it is not just about the result. It's not just about winning the game. That is, yes, 99% important, 95%. Let's make it 95% important. But the other 5% is about changing the mentality. The other 5% is about reconnecting Rangers with being the top team in Scotland and putting us back at the top. Now, for too long, they have held dominance and they've got very much this Goliath concept, this Goliath complex that they are the biggest club, that they are the dominant force, and results would appear to suggest that. We've got to take our Davids to their Goliath and we've got to slay them. We've got to put them back down on the ground where they belong. And it's about changing that mentality. And I think one of the things that people may underestimate in today's game is the fact that a victory for Rangers today is a game changer. It draws a line. Because for too long now, we have been a team that have kind of this mentality that we can't beat them. We just can't beat them. They're too bad. They're too good for us. They're too big for us. They're too strong for us. They're like year 11 and we're year 7 and we're trying to beat them. We can't do it. We've got to change that mentality. We've got to get a line in the sand and cross that line and say, that is it. No more. Back on level terms now. We're back. We're here. And we're here to stay. Now, that is a big ask. And people may say I'm being delusional here, which is fine. But I think there's things to take from this. Let's take it from this point. First of all, we played Spurs on Thursday night, right? We played a very good Spurs team. Yes, they had a lot of injuries, but if you look at that Spurs team that actually played on Thursday night, that is still a very, very good team. You look at the caliber of that side for a minute, and you look at who played for them on Thursday night against us. And let me just have a little look at the team that they put out, shall we? So that team they put out, Fraser Forster in goal, okay, decent keeper. Back four of Pedro Porro, Archie Gray, Dragusin and Udogie. I'm going to tell you this now, and it's controversial, I know. All four of those players would walk into Celtic's team. Absolutely walk into Celtic's team. Any Celtic fan that tells you that Pedro Porro would not replace Alistair Johnson and Archie Gray is not a better player than what they've already got. The Dragusin is not better than Carter Vickers or who is it on Aaron Trusty, and the Udogie is not better than Greg Taylor, is it, or someone like that, is living in cloud cuckoo land. The midfield three, James Maddison, Bissouma and Bentancur, are better than Hatate, better than McGregor and better than Bernardo. Callum McGregor would not get in the Spurs team. I guarantee that. He'd be on the bench at best. Brennan Johnson, yes, okay, Kulusevski, let's put him in place. Timo Werner is shit. Let's get that. Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski would both walk into the Celtic team, and Heung-min Son is head and shoulders better than Kyogo. Any Celtic fan that tells you that any of those Spurs fan players would not walk into their team is living in a fantasy cloud cuckoo land. Okay, they just, there's not one single Celtic player that would get into that Celtic team, into that Spurs team. I'll tell you that now. Not one single Celtic team. And I'll tell you this now about Celtic. Celtic would finish bottom half of the Premier League at best, even relegation fight. So look, the thing to take from that is we went out there, we went toe-to-toe with Spurs, we outplayed them, we were unlucky not to get the victory. Nicholas Raskin absolutely bossed Maddison, Bissouma and Bentancur. Boss them. Now, if he can boss those three, he can walk all over Callum McGregor. He can walk all over Paolo Bernardo. He can walk all over Rio Hatate. Not a problem. Not a problem in the slightest. So, tomorrow is not only about us getting our team selection right, it's about us believing that, look, if we can do this against the likes of Spurs, if we can put in those performances as we did against the likes of Nice, then there's every chance that we can do the same against Celtic. And they are not this untouchable team that they're sometimes made out to be in Scotland. I think these three players also have an absolute key role to play. Now, two of these did not feature on Thursday night. They did not play because they were not in the Europa League squad. So people talking about the players Spurs have got missing. And yes, I agree that the players that Spurs have missing, Guillermo Vicario, Romero, Van der Ven, etc., are better players than what we've got. Yeah, I agree with that 100%, and would be in their team. Yeah, agree with that. But Danny and Hadji, I think, would have made a big difference on Thursday night. Hadji has been kind of the metronome. He's been the playmaker. He's been the guy who's made the team tick. He's been a door opener. He's been that creative force in the middle, and taking him out of the team, I think, to some degree, did harm Rangers. And I think having him down Thursday night would have made a huge difference. I think that game would have absolutely suited him down to the ground. Now, having him back and hopefully starting today, I think will make a massive difference. I really do. And I will die on the hill that he is a better player than Callum McGregor. People go this, show us your medals, show us your medals. Yanis Hadji plays for Romania. Yanis Hadji was one of the best players at the Euros. Callum McGregor was one of the worst players at the Euros. I mean, Yanis Hadji has performed in Europe. Callum McGregor has never performed in Europe. Okay, so forget the SPL for a minute. Let's look at that bigger stage, the European competition. I'm not deriding Scottish football. I'm not talking down Scottish football because I'm saying that European football is better than Scottish football. Absolutely. Of course it is. It's better than probably every single league bar the Premier League. And the Euros are international tournaments where you've got the best players playing against each other. And he is, I would say, a better player all round than Callum McGregor. Danilo, I think, would have made a huge difference. Quick, great movement, good feet, scores goals, top player. Again, him tomorrow. Now, I think these three today, it's because I'm recording this Saturday night, guys, sorry, have a huge role to play. And I think if Hamza is fit and good to go, and with the skills he's been showing, with the quality he's been showing, with the finishing ability he's been showing, linking with Danilo and Hadji again, and of course Václav Černý, I think it makes a massive difference. It gives us things that we haven't previously had against Celtic: movement, pace, power, directness, all stuff that we have not previously seen against them. If you go back across the games you've played against them in Clermont's reign, it's been slow, it's been dithersome, it's been chronic, it's been sideways, it's been boring, it's been slow, it's just not done anything. Whereas these three, linking with Černý, give us such a different element to our game. So, look, I think these three have got a massive, massive role to play in today's game. Right, my team selection for today's game is as follows. So Jack Butland in goal, I think, that he selects himself. We can debate all we want. Should he have saved Kulusevski's goal on Thursday? Maybe, maybe not. But I think there's a lot that could have gone on before that to stop that even been a shot on goal, if I'm being honest with you. There was a lot of defensive errors there. Back four, Dujon Sterling. Look, James Tavernier has played well the last few games, but Dyson Maida has the Indian sign over him. Dyson Maida has a little bit of an ownership. He's got the papers, hasn't he, on Tav. He kind of has, in recent times, in every Old Firm game, absolutely made Tav look like a mug. So for me, Dujon Sterling will bring pace, he'll bring strength, he'll be able to track Maida, he'll stop Celtic from getting in down the right-hand side of our defence, which they've done on multiple occasions in recent Old Firm games. Balogun and Proper to start. Because realistically, look, Souttar's out injured, and Thiala's not an option, King's not an option. There is no other options. It's got to be Balogun and Proper. I would have liked to preferred Balogun and Souttar, but Souttar went off injured on Thursday night. I don't think he's going to be fit today. Look, I've got to... Proper has played well in European games. Proper can take some of that form from his European games into this game. It could actually work. Who knows? Yefte on the left, midfield three. Now, I've gone for Diamonde and Raskin. Diamonde and Raskin absolutely bossed the midfield against Celtic. They really genuinely did. And Dio had probably one of his best games. Now, I know that in the past, Dio hasn't played that well against Celtic. He hasn't done that great against Celtic. But look, I'll counter it at this point. Nobody has. I mean, their stats from Thursday night. Raskin, 92% pass completion percentage, 100% tackling, 6 out of 9 duels won. Diamonde, 91% pass success, 3 chances created, 4 out of 7 duels won. I think, with Diamonde, with Raskin, with Hadji, it gives us a midfield to compete with McGregor, Hatate, and Bernardo. And that's what you need at the end of the day. A midfield that's going to match them up and is going to beat them. Raskin and Diamonde bring your legs. Hadji brings your creativity. That's the difference, I think, that between previous games as well. We haven't had the legs, the pace to get in about them. And I think if you look back at probably the best performance that we've had against them, we realistically should have won the game, which was the final of the Scottish Cup last year. Raskin played and was the best midfielder on the park. He outplayed McGregor. He outplayed Hatate, and I think it was O'Reilly was playing in that game. But he was the best player. So for me, they bring the legs. Hadji brings the creativity. And then you've got a front three that can rotate, which they've done all the time. You know, people talk about playing a 4-4-2. We haven't played a 4-4-2. We played a 4-3-3 with a rotation of that front three, very much in the Liverpool style, like they did when they had Salah, Firmino, and Mane. And I'm not saying for a minute that any of our players are as good as Salah, Firmino, and Mane. For any Liverpool fans, come on here and slaughter me as well, or any Premier League fans. But Danilo, Hamza, and Rashad Cherny bring you skill, they bring you directness, they bring you pace, creativity, all the things that will really put Celtic on the back foot. Look, if you go back across their games in Europe, you know, the games they've struggled in, Celtic have struggled in, Borussia Dortmund, for example, springs to mind. The one thing that constantly puts Celtic on the back foot is when you go at them. When you go for their throats, you attack them at speed, you go into them, and you are direct. They don't like that. They don't like that. They like it when teams sit off. They like it when teams pass, like we've done in past Old Firm games in front of our own box or in our own half and slow the game down, because then they come up, they high press, they win it back and they attack. But if you play forward, you play progressively, you play with speed and get the ball into the final third quickly and attack them in a direct, they do not like it and they fold like a cheap suit. So look, I think that is the philosophy we've got to go into in today's game, is that quick, fast passing, get at them, cause them problems and get in their faces straight from the off. You know, if that doesn't happen, if we do like we have done in previous Old Firm games and, you know, sit off them, play, you know, nice, neat little triangle passing in front of the back four, then it's going to be the exact same result all over again. And we really cannot afford that. It cannot happen again. But that's my philosophy. The prediction, I'm going 2-1 Rangers victory today. Yanis Hadji to score the first and Hamza Igman to get the winner. Right, let's just touch on, before we head off today, obviously for the game, let's touch on a story that we broke yesterday, which was the appointment of Rangers' new chairman. There does seem to have been a kind of rush of late, doesn't there, of new appointments, of new people coming in to the club. Obviously, the news that Niels Koppen takes over, obviously in that sporting director kind of role, as well as scout, and holding basically 3 jobs, doesn't he? Then we've got obviously Patrick Stewart, who's boldly going, you know, where no one has gone before, as the new CEO of the club. Or nowhere since James Bisgrove left anyway. But this man is Fraser Thornton, a lifelong Rangers fan, a season ticket holder. And again, like Patrick Stewart, he will start on the 16th of December, the day after today, the day after this cup final. Again, it's part of a new start, and he is not an investor. He's not someone who's coming in as a chairman because he's invested a boatload of money in the club. He's coming in on that non-executive basis, you know, like John Gilligan spoke about at the AGM, bringing in business people to run the club as a business, which is at the end of the day what we have, what we need. You know, there's been talk, hadn't there, of Lord Offord, the Conservative peer, becoming chairman. That seemed to meet with a lot of anti-feeling from a lot of Rangers fans, wrongly in my opinion. I think who a person stands for politically does not influence who they support footballing wise. You know, he's a lifelong Rangers fan, like I said. You know, the Rangers club statement read this. It said, Rangers Football Club are delighted to announce the appointment of Fraser Thornton as chair. He will join the club on the 16th of December. Fraser has held many senior leadership and board positions throughout his career in both private and public companies. Having worked in the international drinks industry for the last 30 years, he offers a vast range of experience in stakeholder engagement, spanning political, commercial and public interest groups. He has an extensive management experience across sales, brand marketing, strategy development and finance. These are all, you know, key areas that Rangers need addressing, isn't it? We need new financial strands coming in, something he has done at other companies. We do need new marketing strategies. We do need new business strategies to take this club forward. And if he can bring those to the club, it is good news for Rangers. He was raised in Glasgow. Fraser was educated at the University of Stirling before qualifying as a chartered accountant with Price Waterhouse in Glasgow in 1993. Between 1996 and 2021, Fraser held multiple executive leadership positions in international businesses, working across several regions of the world. He was a council member of the Scottish Whisky Association for 15 years until 2021. Since 2021, Fraser has held several non-executive positions, and he is currently the interim chair of Scottish Golf. So, you know, he's held a lot of senior positions. He's absolutely experienced to get there. And he is, I think, hopefully going to be the right man for the job. The club statement went on to say, as a lifelong supporter and season ticket holder, he has a deep knowledge of the club, which together with a highly successful executive track record and an impressive range of non-executive experience makes him an excellent fit for this role. We look forward to welcoming him and our new CEO, Patrick Stewart, to their new roles on Monday. This is what John Gilligan said on the statement on the club website. Look, I'm very optimistic with this guy, that he's the right guy. He seems to have a very good business background. And at the end of the day, that's what we need. Someone to run the club as a business, run the club to make profits, to bring in new monies, to look at sponsorships, to really take the club forward. And I think it's interesting that Karim Varane has gone, really clearing the decks for someone like Fraser Thornton to come in and make his impact clear on the club in terms of finding those commercial opportunities and even perhaps appointing his own man to that non-executive directors board. Guys, let me know your thoughts on the new chairman. I think, we're finally seeing a positive move forward by the club, aren't we? It's good, and hopefully by the end of today, we feel exactly the same. Who knows? Who knows, guys? We've got to keep the faith. As the title of this video is, we leave nothing out there. Let's hope that when we walk off that pitch at 5:30 or at 6 o'clock or whatever it is, we do that with our heads held high, leaving nothing out there and carrying that nice silver trophy. Thanks for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, please smash the sub, smash the like, comment, share, do all that fabulous stuff for me. Thanks for watching. We are the people.